So today we're going to talk a little bit about data counters, battle counters, whatever you want to call them. I was lucky enough to get this manual with one of mine, the Daiichi DLP-8. I've since settled on using Daiichi DLP-888s, which look to be functionally identical, except the displays I think are a little nicer. I'll show you those in a second. But anyway, using the manual, I've been able to work out a couple of things. I was also fortunate enough that Bill from Plasma Infusion was able to source for me a administrative remote. So the counter itself came with the clerk's remote, which is less featured. Doesn't really allow you to change any of the settings, just sort of operate the counter a little bit, so you can set like away times and meal times and things like that I guess they do in the actual parlors. But using this guy, I now have access to all of the commands that are listed in this manual, and there is a ton of them. Of course, it's all in Japanese, so as you can see, I kind of have to use Google Translate to go through here and figure out what I'm doing. So the first thing I figured out how to do was to reset the counters to factory defaults. And to do that, it's basically this blue button here, which is function. Up arrow once to get function number 1, and then hold down the erase button here for 2 seconds. The counter will flash white, and then it just resets itself back to the factory default settings. So I've done that on a couple of these counters. I want to show you what that looks like. So here's one of the 888s. You can see that as far as the counter is concerned, a little hard to see there, but it thinks it's a DLP-8. Still says DLP-8 on the thing, but it looks much different than the other DLP-8, which I'll show you in a second. Anyway, what I wanted to show you here is notice that blinking wireless type symbol there, networking symbol. When that's flashing like that, it means that master 0 in the network of counters has not been configured. I was lucky enough, I bought a set of these counters from Japan directly via From Japan, the proxy bidding service, and they came with full harnesses, including all of the ganging harnesses that allow me to hook up to 4 of these all together in one network. So over here on the other side, here's the standard DLP-8. You can see the case looks pretty much identical. And up in the upper left corner, or upper right corner there, it also says DLP-8. You won't be able to see it here because it's too dark. But this counter uses its vacuum fluorescent display, which is a little troublesome and can wear out or burn out. And one of these, I have 2 of them. One of them actually has a burnt out segment somewhere. So I decided I was going to get rid of those and just go with the LED-based ones, which should last almost forever. The LEDs tend to fade a little over time. The color's a little less vibrant, but they'll probably never burn out or very rarely burn out. But also here, notice the blinking line in the middle there. That also means that master 0 has not been set on this particular counter. Also over here, right below the blue text, you can see there it says number 2. That means that this device has been set as slave node number 2. So it was probably that way in the parlor when it got removed, and it's never been reset or reconfigured. So what I'm going to do is try that command now. So you have to be pretty close to these so that you don't inadvertently affect the other one. They recommend no more than 30 centimeters. So you hit the function button. The display will go to function 00. Hit that up arrow button once to go to function 1. And then we're going to hold down the erase key. I just turned the remote in my hand to make it a little easier for 2 seconds. Actually, I've got to do it. I've got to point it at the device. There's 1. There's 2. All right, now if I hit function again, it'll come back out. And you'll notice here now that it's no longer below the blue text there. It's no longer slave node number 2. This guy's still blinking though, because nothing's been set on this node. Now this one is not networked with the other ones, so I'm just going to go through and set this to master 0, which is also quite simple. You hit the function button again. All right, and you don't have to select a function this time. What you're going to do is I'm going to use this orange button, which is special, and the number 5, and I have to do that together, so I'll have to set the phone down briefly. I'll be right back.